We are headed for a recession. Now, before you click away, before you tell yourself that everything is fine and that your portfolio is doing great, I need you to understand something. Every single person watching this video right now has a choice to make. You can either prepare for what's coming or you can be a victim of it. And I'll tell you right now, I don't do victims. I do winners. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, this second, hit that subscribe button. Why? Because the information I'm about to share with you is worth thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars to your financial future. And if you're serious about protecting your money, about building wealth even when the economy tanks, then you need to be part of this community. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's get to work. Now, let me tell you how I know a recession is coming. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I've built companies. I've destroyed companies. I've made fortunes, and I've watched people lose everything. And every single time, right before the market crashes, right before the economy falls apart, I see the same signs, the same patterns, the same mistakes that people make over and over again. And folks, I'm seeing those signs right now. You want to know what the biggest mistake is? People think they have time. They think, oh, the market's still going up. My house is still worth more than it was last year. My job is secure. So they keep spending. They keep borrowing. They keep living like the party's never going to end. But let me tell you something about parties. They always end. Always. And when this one ends, it's going to be brutal for the people who weren't ready. I'm not here to scare you. Fear is useless. Fear paralyzes you. What I'm here to do is wake you up. I'm here to slap you across the face financially and say, get your house in order right now, because the window of opportunity to protect yourself is closing. Every day that goes by, every week that you wait, that window gets smaller and smaller. And when it slams shut, when the recession hits and the layoffs start and the stock market drops 30, 40, 50%, you're going to wish you had listened to me today. So what do I see that tells me this is coming? First, I look at consumer debt. Do you know how much debt the average American is carrying right now? Credit cards maxed out. Car loans that are bigger than the value of the car, mortgages on houses they can't afford. This is insanity. This is exactly what I saw before the last crash. People are borrowing money to maintain a lifestyle they cannot sustain. And when the economy slows down, when companies start cutting back, when jobs disappear, all of that debt becomes a noose around your neck. Second, I look at corporate earnings. Now, the media will tell you everything is great. They'll point to some big tech companies and say, look how well they're doing. But I look deeper. I look at the companies that actually employ people, the companies that make real things and provide real services. And what I see is margin compression. I see companies cutting costs, laying off workers, struggling to maintain profits. That's not a sign of a healthy economy. That's a sign of a sick economy that's about to get worse. Third, and this is the big one, I look at what the smart money is doing, not what they're saying, what they're doing. And the smart money, the institutional investors, the billionaires, the people who have access to information that you and I don't have, they're getting defensive. They're pulling money out of risky assets. They're building up cash positions. They're buying gold. They're buying treasury bonds. They're doing everything they can to protect their wealth. Why? Because they know what's coming. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Kevin, I get it. A recession is coming, but what do I do about it? How do I protect myself? That's exactly what I'm going to tell you. But first, you need to understand something fundamental about wealth. Wealth is not created during the good times. Anyone can make money when the economy is booming. Your neighbor's dog could make money in a bull market. Real wealth, generational wealth, life-changing wealth is created during the bad times. It's created by the people who are prepared, who have cash when everyone else is panicking, who can buy assets when they're on sale. I've made more money during recessions than I ever made during boom times. Why? Because I was ready. Because I wasn't caught with my pants down, because I had a plan. And that's what I'm going to give you today, a plan, a strategy, a roadmap to not just survive the coming recession, but to thrive during it. But here's the thing, and I need you to really hear this. This plan only works if you act now. If you wait until the recession is here, if you wait until you see the headlines screaming about layoffs and market crashes, it's too late. The time to prepare for a storm is before the storm hits. Not when it's raining, not when the wind is howling, before. So let me ask you a question. What's your cash position right now? How much money do you have in liquid assets that you can access immediately? Not your retirement account, not your house equity, actual cash. If you lost your job tomorrow, how long could you survive? 1 month, 3 months, 6 months? Because I'll tell you right now, if you don't have at least 6 months of expenses in cash, you are not prepared for what's coming. You are vulnerable. And in a recession, vulnerable people get destroyed. This is where most people fail. They hear the warning, they nod their heads, and then they do absolutely nothing. They go right back to their spending habits, their debt habits, their terrible financial decisions. And then when the recession comes, they act shocked. They act like they couldn't have seen it coming. Well, I'm not going to let that happen to you. Not if you're smart enough to listen. The first thing you need to do, and I mean this week, not next month, not when you feel like it, this week, is build your cash fortress. I call it a fortress because that's exactly what it is. It's your protection, your shield, your weapon. Cash is king during a recession. Everyone says that, but nobody actually does it. They keep their money tied up in stocks, in real estate, in crypto, in all these assets that are going to drop like a stone when the market crashes, and then they have nothing. No liquidity, no options, no power. Here's what I do. I keep a minimum of 20% of my net worth in cash and cash equivalents. Now, some people think that's crazy. They say, Kevin, you're losing money to inflation. Cash is trash. And you know what I tell them? You're an idiot. Because when the market drops 40% and I can buy your stocks for pennies on the dollar, when your business is going bankrupt and I can buy your assets for 20 cents on the dollar, who's the idiot then? Cash gives you optionality. It gives you freedom. It gives you the ability to be a buyer when everyone else is forced to be a seller. So how do you build this cash fortress? You cut expenses ruthlessly. I want you to go through your bank statement right now, every single charge from last month. And I want you to ask yourself one question about each expense. Is this necessary? Not. Do I enjoy it? Not. Do I deserve it? Is it necessary? And if the answer is no, you cut it immediately. That subscription service you barely use, gone. That gym membership where you show up twice a month, gone. That car payment on a vehicle that's more expensive than you need, sell it, buy something cheaper. People hate hearing this. They think I'm being mean. They think I'm telling them to live like a monk. But you know what I'm actually doing? I'm trying to save your financial life. Because every dollar you save right now is a dollar you have to protect yourself when things get bad. Every dollar you save is a dollar you can invest when assets are cheap. This is not about being cheap. This is about being smart. Now, the second thing you need to do is get out of bad debt. Notice I said bad debt. Not all debt is created equal. If you have a mortgage at 3%, I'm not telling you to pay that off early. That's cheap money. But credit card debt at 20%, car loans at 8%, personal loans, that debt is killing you. It's a cancer on your financial health and you need to cut it out right now. Here's my strategy. List every debt you have from highest interest rate to lowest. Then attack the highest interest rate debt with everything you've got. Every extra dollar, every bonus, every tax refund, it all goes to killing that debt. Why? Because that debt is costing you more than any investment you can make right now. If you're paying 20% interest on a credit card, that's a guaranteed 20% return when you pay it off. Show me an investment that gives you a guaranteed 20% return. You can't. It doesn't exist. And let me tell you something else about debt. When the recession hits, when companies start laying people off, you know who gets hit first? The people with debt. Because they're the most desperate. They can't negotiate. They can't take risks. They can't wait for a better opportunity. They have to take whatever job they can get because they have payments to make. That's slavery, financial slavery, and I don't want that for you. The third thing, and this is critical, you need to diversify your income. Most people have one source of income, their job, and they think that's security. But it's not security. It's vulnerability. Because if you lose that job, your income goes to zero instantly. And in a recession, nobody is safe. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care how good you are at your job. Layoffs happen. Companies fail. Industries collapse. So what do? You create additional income streams. Now, I'm not talking about get-rich-quick schemes. I'm not talking about some multi-level marketing garbage. I'm talking about real sustainable income sources. Maybe it's a side business. Maybe it's rental income from a property. Maybe it's dividend income from investments. Maybe it's freelance work in your area of expertise. I don't care what it is, but you need to have more than one way to make money. I have 17 different income streams. Why? Because I never want to be dependent on any single source. If one dries up, I have 16 others. That's security. That's real financial independence. And you don't need to have 17, but you need to have more than one. Start small. Start with 2, then build from there. Now let's talk about your investments, because this is where people really mess up. They panic. The market starts dropping and they sell everything. Or worse, they do nothing and watch their portfolio get cut in half. Both strategies are terrible. Here's what you need to understand. A recession is not the end of the world. It's a transfer of wealth. Wealth moves from the unprepared to the prepared, from the panicked to the patient, from the weak hands to the strong hands. So what's my strategy? I go defensive before the recession hits. That means I reduce my exposure to high-risk assets. I take profits on stocks that have run up too much. I sell positions that I'm not completely confident in. And I move that money into defensive positions. What are defensive positions? Think consumer staples, think healthcare, think utilities. These are companies that people need no matter what the economy is doing. People still need to buy food. They still need electricity. They still need medicine. These stocks don't go up as much in good times, but they don't crash as hard in bad times. I also increase my allocation to dividend-paying stocks. Why? Because dividends give you income even when the stock price is falling. And if you're reinvesting those dividends during a recession, you're buying more shares at lower prices. That's how you build wealth. That's how you come out of a recession richer than you went in. But here's the key, and this is what separates the winners from the losers. You need to have cash ready to deploy when the panic hits. When the market is down 30, 40, 50%, and everyone is screaming that the world is ending, that's when you buy. That's when you go shopping. That's when you pick up incredible companies at fire sale prices. But you can only do that if you have cash. If you're fully invested when the crash comes, you can't buy anything. You're stuck watching the opportunity pass you by. I've done this multiple times in my career. Every recession, every market crash, I've made a fortune. Not because I'm smarter than everyone else, not because I have some crystal ball, but because I was prepared, because I had cash, because I had a plan, and when everyone else was panicking, I was buying. Now, let me talk about something that nobody wants to hear, but everybody needs to understand. Your career, your job, the thing that pays your bills right now. In a recession, your value to your employer is going to be tested. And if you're not prepared, if you're not indispensable, you're going to be on the chopping block. It's that simple. Companies don't cut their best people. They cut their most expensive people and their least productive people. So, which one are you? Here's what you do starting tomorrow. You make yourself invaluable. You find ways to generate revenue for your company. You find ways to cut costs. You take on projects that nobody else wants. You become the person that your boss cannot imagine losing, because when the layoffs come, and they will come, decisions are made in 30 seconds. The boss looks at a list of names and asks one question: can I afford to lose this person? If the answer is yes, you're gone. And let me tell you something else. You need to be networking right now. Not when you lose your job, not when you're desperate. Now, you need to be building relationships in your industry. You need to be visible. You need to be known, because if you do get laid off, the only thing that's going to save you is your network. It's not going to be sending resumes into the void. It's going to be the phone call from someone who knows you, who trusts you, who wants to hire you. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because you invested time in building those relationships before you needed them. I'm going to tell you about the biggest opportunity that a recession creates, and most people completely miss it: real estate. When the economy tanks, when people lose their jobs, when they can't pay their mortgages, real estate prices collapse. And that's when smart investors make generational wealth. I'm not talking about flipping houses. I'm not talking about speculation. I'm talking about buying rental properties at massive discounts and holding them for the long term. Here's why this works. During a recession, people who lose their houses still need somewhere to live. They become renters. So rental demand actually goes up during recessions. At the same time, property prices go down. So you're buying at low prices and renting at stable or increasing rates. That's a beautiful combination. But here's the catch. You need cash to do this. You need a down payment. You need reserves. You need to be able to close on properties when the banks aren't lending to anyone else. This is why everything I've told you so far matters. The cash fortress you built, the debt you eliminated, the side income you created, it all comes together to give you the ability to act when opportunity presents itself. While everyone else is scared, while everyone else is broke, you're ready to pounce. You're ready to buy assets that are going to make you rich for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Let me talk about something personal for a minute. I've been through multiple recessions in my career. I've seen people lose everything. I've seen families destroyed. I've seen successful people end up bankrupt. And you know what the common thread was? They weren't prepared. They thought the good times would last forever. They leveraged themselves to the max. They spent every dollar they made. And when the recession hit, they had no cushion, no backup plan, no way out. But I've also seen the opposite. I've seen people who came out of recessions as millionaires, people who bought businesses for nothing, people who accumulated real estate portfolios, people who built wealth that changed their family's trajectory for generations. And the common thread there, they were ready. They sacrificed during the good times so they could prosper during the bad times. They understood that you don't get rich by following the crowd. You get rich by doing what the crowd won't do. So here's my final challenge to you. I want you to make a decision right now. Are you going to be a victim or a victor? Are you going to let this recession destroy you, or are you going to use it to build wealth? Because it's one or the other. There's no middle ground. The recession is coming whether you like it or not. The only variable is how prepared you are. Starting today, I want you to implement everything I've told you. Build that cash position, cut those expenses, kill that debt, diversify your income, make yourself invaluable at work, build your network, get your investments positioned defensively. And then when the crash comes, when everyone else is panicking, you're going to be calm. You're going to be ready. You're going to be shopping for deals while they're selling in a panic. This is not theory. This is not something I read in a book. This is what I've done multiple times in my career. This is how I've built wealth. This is how I've survived and thrived through every economic downturn. And if you follow this plan, if you actually do the work instead of just nodding your head and forgetting about it tomorrow, you can do the same thing. Now, I need something from you. If this video helped you, if you understand now what you need to do, I need you to smash that like button. Why? Because it tells the algorithm to show this video to more people. And right now, there are millions of people who need to hear this message. People who are about to get destroyed financially because nobody warned them. You can help me reach them by hitting that like button. Second, I need you to subscribe to this channel and become a member. Why? Because this is just the beginning. I'm going to be putting out more content about how to navigate this recession, specific investment ideas, specific strategies, real-time updates on what I'm seeing in the market. But I can only do that if this channel grows. If you want access to that information, you need to be part of this community. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, become a member. And third, I need you to share this video. Send it to your friends, send it to your family, post it on social media. Why? Because the people you care about need this information too. Maybe they won't listen to you, but maybe they'll listen to me. Maybe this video will be the wake-up call that saves their financial life. You have the power to help them. Use it. Let me leave you with this final thought. Recessions are inevitable. They're part of the economic cycle. They've happened before and they'll happen again, but they don't have to be devastating. In fact, for the prepared, for the smart, for the disciplined, recessions are the greatest wealth building opportunities that exist. The key is preparation. The key is action. The key is doing what I've told you today before it's too late. The clock is ticking. Every day you wait is a day you can't get back. Every week you procrastinate is a week closer to the crash. Don't be the person who looks back 6 months from now and says, I wish I had listened to Kevin. Be the person who looks back and says, thank God I took action when I had the chance. Your financial future is in your hands. Nobody is coming to save you. Not the government, not your employer, not your family. It's on you. So take control, take action, do the work. Build your fortress. And when the storm comes, you'll be safe inside while everyone else is getting destroyed. That's the difference between winners and losers. That's the difference between wealth and poverty. That's the difference between you 6 months from now being broke or being positioned to build generational wealth. The choice is yours. Make the right one. I'll see you in the next video.